On August 5th, a metal tube the size of a 5-story building is going to hit the moon at 5,400 miles an hour. Nobody is steering it, and one man has already drawn a crosshair on the exact spot. The last time he did that, the crosshair was right. The rocket was wrong. The wrong name sat in the record for 7 years. So by the end of this, you will know how somebody puts a target on the moon without ever touching the thing that hits it, and why the crosshair is always the easy part. The label is where it falls apart. January 15th, 2025. 1 in the morning at Kennedy Space Center. A Falcon 9 lifts off carrying 2 moon landers at once from 2 companies on 2 different continents, stacked one inside the other. Nobody had ever sent 2 landers to the moon on the same rocket before. They did it because going to the moon alone costs too much. Riding on top, Blue Ghost, built in Texas, carrying 10 NASA instruments. And that sentence is the whole new era in miniature. NASA did not build that lander. NASA bought a seat on it, tucked underneath in a canister, Resilience, built in Tokyo. Second attempt. Their first lander had crashed into the moon 2 years earlier. The upper stage had one job: throw both of them out of Earth orbit and toward the moon. It did that job perfectly. Blue Ghost let go 65 minutes after launch. Resilience followed 27 minutes later. And that was everything the rocket was ever asked to do. March 2nd. Blue Ghost sets down upright in a place called the Sea of Crises and works. First commercial moon landing that went completely right. June 5th. Resilience is 600 feet above a plane called the Sea of Cold coming down. The sensor that tells it how far away the ground is starts reporting late, not broken. Late. So, the lander never slows down enough. 90 seconds from touchdown, the room in Tokyo goes quiet. It hits the surface at 94 miles an hour. 6 days later, a NASA orbiter photographed the scar. And the thing that carried both of them is still up there, out of fuel, no way home. The delivery truck outlived both of its passengers. On August 5th, it finally arrives at the address, which raises a fair question. If nobody is flying it, how does anyone know the address? The military tracks space junk with radar, and they are frighteningly good at it. They have tracked gloves that astronauts dropped. But radar works by shouting and listening for the echo, and out near the moon, the echo comes back too faint to hear. Radar finds a tool bag in low orbit. It cannot see a 5-story rocket 250,000 miles away. So, the only eyes on it belong to telescopes built to hunt asteroids. Every hour those surveys spend staring at somebody's abandoned rocket is an hour not spent looking for a rock with our name on it. But a slow-moving dot of light is a slow-moving dot of light. They find our garbage, whether they want to or not. Between them, they logged over 1,000 sightings of this one object, from Mississippi to Utah to Beijing to England. Nobody was assigned. People just kept looking and kept writing it down. That is all the crosshair is made of. Dots of light written down by volunteers. And the man turning those dots into a date is named Bill Gray. He has made his living as an astronomer for decades. He does not have a PhD. He wrote the software himself. And on his own website, he keeps a dated list of every mistake he has had to correct. Hold on to that last part. So how do you turn dots of light into a crater? Picture a billiard table, not a normal one. This one is enormous, and the surface is not flat. It has long, gentle slopes rolled into it, and you know the shape of every slope down to the fraction of an inch. That table is gravity. The pole of the Earth, the Moon, the Sun, and the planets measured to a precision that is genuinely a little unsettling. Roll a ball across a table like that, and you do not have to watch it the whole way. You measure a stretch, and the table tells you the rest. Every telescope sighting is one measurement of the ball. Feed in enough of them, and the shape of the table does the remaining work. Gray says that if gravity were the only thing acting on it, he could tell you where this rocket hits and when, to within a few yards and a fraction of a second. But there is a fan in the room. You cannot see it. You can barely feel it. It is sunlight. Light carries a push. On your face, that push is nothing. On a hollow metal can drifting for 18 months, it adds up. And the can is tumbling, so it catches that light at a different angle every few seconds. The push is not even steady. It is a flutter. So he can call the pocket. He cannot call the millimeter. In June, he moved the impact 9 minutes earlier and 100 miles northwest. In July, he moved it again by a couple of seconds. Every correction shrinks the crosshair. And this is where the geometry turns into a date. The rocket loops around the Earth every 26 days on a long, lopsided path that crosses the Moon's orbit. It has been crossing it this whole time. Usually one of them reaches the crossing point while the other is somewhere else, and nothing happens. On August 5th, they arrive together. So the crosshair is sharp. Now, here is the part I have been holding back. The last time an astronomer drew a crosshair like that on the Moon, he was right about every number on it. And he had no idea what he was pointing at. March 2015. A telescope in Arizona spots something moving and logs it as a possible asteroid. Then, an astronomer in Brazil noticed the problem. It was orbiting the Earth. Asteroids orbit the Sun. This one was ours. The obvious suspect was a Falcon 9 upper stage that had launched a NASA climate satellite a month earlier. The evidence lined up nicely. Right brightness, right timing, a plausible swing past the Moon, not proof, but good enough, and nobody had a reason to push on it. That name sat in the record for 7 years. Then, on February 12, 2022, an engineer named John Giorgini at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory sent an email. He was not accusing anyone of anything. He had simply checked where the climate satellite actually flew, and it never went near the Moon. Which is strange. The satellite goes one way, and its own rocket stage swings past the Moon in the other? So Gray went back through 7 years of his own email to settle it. He has written since that he started that search, completely confident it would prove him right. He went digging for proof he was right. He found proof he was not. Remember that dated list of corrections on his website? This is the entry. Now, if you want to know what a piece of space junk actually is, here is what you cannot do. You cannot go and look at it. At that distance, it is not a rocket, it is a pixel, so they did the only thing left. They rolled the table backward. Same billiard table, same known slopes, run in reverse. The reversed path put the object swinging past the Moon in October 2014. Keep winding back, and the low point of its orbit drops to just above the atmosphere, exactly where a rocket's low point sits, with the ground track underneath running east out of China. Which is precisely what a Chinese moon mission looks like on paper. 2 more things landed on top of that. An astronomer named Jonathan McDowell found orbital data for a small amateur radio satellite that had hitched a ride on that Chinese booster, and it matched. And students at the University of Arizona measured the light bouncing off the object's paint, and it matched Chinese boosters, not a Falcon 9. Gray's own way of putting it is better than mine. The paint told them the suspect was blonde. That ruled out almost everybody. It did not give them a name. The trajectory gave them the name. So, settled. Not quite. 9 days later, China's foreign ministry announced the object was not theirs, apparently mixing up 2 moon missions with nearly the same name. Meanwhile, the United States Space Force had that same booster filed as having burned up in our atmosphere years earlier. It had not. Which leaves one small question. If it was not the Falcon 9 from that climate satellite launch, then where is the Falcon 9 from that climate satellite launch? Ask the man who tracks these things and he will tell you plainly that he does not know, and he does not think anybody does. His best guess is that it drifted out past a balance point on the sunward side, kept going, and flipped into orbit around the sun. Somewhere out there, a 5-story rocket stage is circling the sun. Probably. Nobody has laid eyes on it since 2015, which is what makes August 5th different. This time, nobody is arguing about the label. We know the launch, we know the mass, we know the job it did. The only thing left is what happens when it lands. And the honest answer is, probably nothing you can see. It is speed that turns an impact into light, and this thing is crawling. But it lands right on the bright edge of the moon's disk, so anything blasted upward might clear that edge and show up against black sky. Nobody knows whether that will work, which is why a lot of people who own telescopes are setting alarms for 2 in the morning to aim at a patch of gray the size of a fingernail and hope. And here's the part that should bother you slightly more than it does. Everything I have just described, the tracking, the orbit, the crosshair, the 2 corrections, is not the output of an agency. There is no department. Gray has written that the orbits for high-flying junk like this get computed by him in his spare time. That is the whole system. Remember the radar problem? It never got solved. So the space we are busy filling with hardware, the space we are about to start sending people through again, is mapped by one man and a mailing list. The fix is not hard, and it has already started. A Falcon 9 stage launched last November was parked in orbit around the sun on purpose. So was the upper stage that carried the James Webb Telescope. It costs almost nothing to aim your garbage somewhere it can never come back from. It just has to be somebody's job to care. So, on August 5th, look at the crosshair. One man worked it out from dots of light with no radar and no budget, and it is going to be right to within a few seconds. Then look at everything around that crosshair and count the question marks. The same NASA orbiter that photographed where Resilience died is going to photograph the hole its own rocket makes. That is how this one closes. Gravity was always the easy part. We can now say where a thing will land more precisely than we can say what the thing is. And if you like the sky being stranger than advertised, wait until you find out what your own eyes get wrong about the moon. Every single night. On a scale you can measure with a paper tube. Subscribe and keep finding out how the world actually works.